All right, T. Good morning, everybody. Ooh, I like that lighting so much better. I changed the setting and it looks really good. All right, so this morning we're going to be doing some hip opening and pigeon pose. So don't run away from me. Have a strap and have a blanket. We're going to use like everything. We're going to use probably one or two blocks. We're going to use either a blanket or a towel, and we're going to use our strap. So take your strap and just put it in a loop. It doesn't have to be a big loop or a little loop. A little loop is just fine. And then keep it beside you and come on down to the floor. And maybe start with your knees bent. Your strap is where you can reach it in just a moment. And just feel your hips, the back of your hips, your sacrum, the sides of your glutes. Just feel them on the floor. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. I always like to kind of snuggle into my mat. And then maybe feel your feet on the floor. You can take the feet wide and draw your knees in towards center. So when we take the feet wide and we draw the knees into center, we take those hips into a little bit of internal rotation. And so it might feel a little funky to be an internal rotation. So just notice that, right? How does that feel for you? How does that feel in your body? If it's not painful, if it's just a little odd, hang out there. And then remember the back of the neck is long. If you have a small blanket or pillow under your head, that's okay, but just make sure it's not a big, thick one. You want that neck to stay in somewhat neutral alignment. Your hands can rest either at your sides or on your belly. And then tap into your breath. And just feel that nice inhale and exhale. Tapping in and exhaling it all the way out. Good. One more right here. Make sure there's not too much space behind your lower back. Again, it should be neutral. Your whole spine should feel pretty neutral. And then separate the knees, feet or hips width apart or a little bit wider. And start a few pelvic tilts and tucks. So you're just rounding the spine so that the back of your body presses into the floor. And then you're lifting the lower back into a nice tilt. So little baby tilts and tucks. That's it. Starting to notice how it feels. Now, if you're on a harder floor, you certainly can take your towel or your blanket and put it underneath your hips. Good. A couple more right here. Just tilting and tucking, just checking out that whole complex, right? The pelvic complex. It's so fascinating and interesting how the body is built. And then come to a neutral spine. Take your feet wider on your mat, maybe to the edges of your mat, and start to let the legs windshield wiper side to side. Maybe your arms are out in cactus pose so that the chest opens up and you're just rocking a little bit side to side. Don't force anything. The feet are wide. And again, we're taking the legs into internal and external rotation. This is another one for me that's just fascinating. As the knees go to one side, one leg is internally rotated, one leg is externally rotated. So you're moving through some of that range of motion in the hips. Good. The next time the knees are over to the right, go ahead and let them stay there and notice how it feels. So as the knees are rolled to the right, you'll feel the stretch along the front left hip, right? The left front hip. So stretching into the psoas a little bit. And then imagine somebody has your knee and it's just pulling the knee long, like away from you, not down to the floor, but away from you. So maybe just press the knee out and let it go. And press the knee out and let it go and relax. And just pause here for a second. Now, if the knees hurt here, you can change the feet, right? Change the position of the legs so that there isn't any stress on the knees. Big deep breath. And then take the arms out to T position. You're going to take your left arm, reach it up to the ceiling and all the way across to the right. And then open it back up. Good. Two more right here. Just stretch it across and roll it back. Good. One more. Stretching it across and opening it back up. Good. Maybe the arms come back to cactus pose, the knees come to center. You might have to shift the hips back to a neutral spot and then let them go over to the left. And again, just pause. See how that feels for you. And we're always mindful here, right? Anytime we're doing kind of one leg doing one thing, one leg doing the other thing, we have to be mindful of how it feels at the back hips. There shouldn't be any torquing or funky feeling there. If there is, you just shift the legs until it's gone. And then somebody has that right knee and it's just pressing it away and then relaxing it back in. And pressing it away and in. Go really easy here, no big presses. Good. And then just relax that. The arms come out to T position. And then the right arm reaches up to the ceiling and crosses over. And then it opens back up again. Good. Inhale, open. Cross it. Oh, yeah. And back. One more right here. Lift up. Cross it over. And bring it back. The arms come back to T position. The knees come back to center. The soles of the feet come together. And this is just a little really lazy Badakanasana. No big force here. Let the knees rock side to side. And in this position, both of the hips are in external rotation. So when we talk about pigeon pose, right, this is the shape, more or less the shape of the legs, the knees, or the one anyway. So bring those hips back to center. I want you to squeeze the feet together and then release that squeeze. Just squeeze the legs together or the feet together. You should feel the glutes engage and release. Good. One more here. Squeeze those feet together, squeeze the hips, and then see if you can lift those hips an inch or two off the floor. Don't go super high. Belly is toned in, but not tight. You're squeezing through the outer hips. Say good morning to your hips. And exhale, let go. All the way down to the floor. Bring your knees together. Good. Two more here. Open the knees. Press your feet together. Engage the glutes. And lift your hips off the floor. Lower those hips down. Bring the knees back to center. Good. Last one. Knees out to your sides. Press into your feet. Lift your hips. Squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale it down. Bring your knees together. Nice job. Bring those knees right up to your chest. Good. Then grab your strap and just take the loop around your left foot. Take the left foot up to the ceiling. Now you can either hold on to the loop or you can hold on to the strap wherever you want to. It's okay either way. So just hold on to that strap, that loop, and straighten your right leg. Oh, hamstrings. And then point and flex the left foot. Let's get some movement in the ankles. There you go. One more big stretch, point, and flex. And then neutral, I want you to take the left leg out to the left side. Don't go all the way. I want you to see if you can keep your right hip down on the floor. I can take my left leg all the way down to the floor, but then my right hip lifts up. And then just ever so slightly turn your toes, your left side toes, down toward the floor. Good. Big deep breath. Inhale the leg up. Grab the strap with your right hand. Take the left arm out to the left for balance. And take that left leg across your body. Breathe. I know. Whoo. That's it. Good. Inhale, center. Keep that strap. Hold on to the loop. Bend your knee in toward your chest. It's really toward your armpit. And then straighten it up. And then squeeze the knee down toward your armpit and up. Last one. Squeeze it down. Don't overdo it. And up. Good. Squeeze that belly. Lift your right leg. Grab that loop with your right foot. Hold the strap with your right hand and let your left leg come down to the floor. Pause. Invariably, you will find one side leg tighter than the other, right? It's whatever we are dominant, whichever leg's dominant, whichever leg you push off of more. Good. Point, flex your foot. This ankle's definitely tighter on this side. Why? Good. Breathe. I know my right leg's always tighter than my left. Good. One more big point and flex. Hold that strap in your right hand. Take the leg out to the right. Maybe your left arm goes out to the left for counterbalance. And really try to ground the straight leg, right? It, by the way, I didn't say this, but if your hamstrings are super tight, your left foot is on the floor instead of straight. Gives you a little bit more space to play. Turn your toes, your right toes down toward the floor a little bit. Find your breath and take it up to the ceiling. Grab the strap with your left hand. Woo-hoo-hoo. And stretch out that outer hip stretch. That's a whole bunch, isn't it? I'm telling you. Breathe, everybody. Take the leg up to center. Hold the strap with your right hand again and drag that right knee toward the right armpit and then straighten. Two more right here. Just draw it in and straighten it. Good. One more here and straighten it. Take the left leg up, both legs up, but release your strap. Turn it off to the side and bend your knees. Bring them into chest. Good. Take the legs to 90 degrees, hands behind your head. I want you to draw the torso up. So just a little crunches, little belly warm up and down. Crunch up. Don't pull on your head. Down. Your hands are supporting your head, but you shouldn't be pulling on it. Breathe. Crunch up, down, up, and down. Let's do 5 more. 5 and 4 and 3. You got it. 2 and 1. Good. Release. Here we go. Lift that torso. Right elbow to left knee. The right leg straightens. Hold. 5, 4. Hold 1. Just hold 1. Don't move. 4, 3, 2, 1. And switch. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch for 3, 3, 2, 1. And switch. 3, 2, 1. Who's giving up on me out there? Here's 2 and 1. Switch. 2 and 1. Switch. 10 of them for singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got it. 8, 9, and 10. Woo! Nice job. Knees to chest. It's amazing. One, when we don't work core a bunch, we lose it, but we gain it back quickly if we just stick with it. All right, last couple here, and we played with this on Sunday if you missed Sunday. So I want you to take the legs to 90 degrees, hands behind your head again, lift up. You're going to twist toward the left as if you were going to bring your right knee or your right knee to your right elbow to your left knee. But don't try to touch, just extend the right arm past your left knee and press leg into arm and arm into knee. Breathe and release. Go to the other side. First twist, then extend the left arm past the right knee. Press the outer knee into your arm. Good. Two more. Lift and twist. Release, lift, twist. One more set here. Twist and reach. Twist and reach. Those are good ones. Lower it down. Ooh, good. Roll the hips a little bit. We got one more. I promise, just one more of these. And this is the one we did on Sunday. We didn't do that one on Sunday, but that's a good one too. All right. Back to where we were. 90-degree legs, hands behind your head. First lift the torso, then twist, then extend the arm. We just did this whole thing. Good. I've extended my right arm past my left knee. Now the left leg's going to go straight up. The right leg's going to go straight down. Whoo, let it hover, flex your feet. Squeeze. Can you get your elbow to the outer knee? Can you squeeze up that high? Oh, and release, bend the legs, just drop your head. Oh, all right, we'll just do one more of those. So lift up first, twist second, extend the left arm past your knee, press that knee into your arm. Here we go. So you're going to take the right leg straight up, the left leg straight out, and then you're going to see if you could lift just a little bit more by sliding that elbow toward your knee. And release it, everybody. And take your head and just turn side to side. Right. Hard thing about core stuff is just making sure you don't get too much tension in your head, neck, and shoulders. All right. So grab your strap again. Your feet are on the floor for now. Bring your left knee up to your chest, wrap that loop around your right foot and take it up to the ceiling. So if you can't see your screen, you might need a little bit of visual here because this is new. We're going to start in a very simple figure four. So turn your left leg out, external rotation, right? Bend the knee and just place it on your other knee. Now you've got this strap and you're going to take the strap along the inside of your leg, around the outside of your knee. Bring the knees up toward chest and see if you can get that strap behind your right thigh. So you're basically kind of tying up your legs. So I'll walk through that again. The strap is around your left foot. You're in a figure four. You're just going to let that strap come along the inside of your left knee, around the outside, if you can reach it, behind your right thigh and back in. So what is this doing, right? All that's doing is keeping the form of figure four. So instead of the left knee coming in toward your chest, which is not it, you're keeping your left foot heading toward your chest. You're keeping the left knee staying away from your chest. And then the end of the strap, you can do anything to. I kind of brought the arm up, up overhead or like cactus pose, or you can just drape it across the front again and hold on to it with your left hand, whatever feels good for that side. You're just holding this in place. And then I want you to rock just a little bit side to side. We're all tied up. Just breathe, everybody. And the strap should feel fairly snug so that your leg is feeling like it's pretty much where you want it to be. That's it. And then just ever so slightly lean toward the right. You're going to feel a deeper stretch in that left hip, right? If you're leaning just enough, breathe. Make sure that the left knee isn't heading toward the chest. Keep it moving away. Oh, yeah, good, nice outer hip stretch. If we're talking pigeon pose, we want this baby to open up a little bit, right? Before we jump into pigeon. Good. Take it center, everybody, and then take your right leg up to the ceiling. Just a different variation. Big deep breath. Bend your right knee. Maybe the knees come in closer, maybe not. Don't force it. And then release your strap. Take it off your foot. Release the left leg. Take it up to the ceiling. Your right foot comes back to the floor. Stretch it all the way down to the floor. Give it a little stretch out of that hip. Good. Bend the knee. Let's go to the other side. Take the strap around the right foot. Take the right leg up to the ceiling. Externally rotate the leg and then bring your ankle to your knee. Bring the knees up toward you just so you have more room. You're going to take the strap along that inside of your right knee, going around the outside behind your left thigh, right? It's like, how does she come up with this weird stuff? And then just hold. I don't know, it's a whole different thing. It, like, takes a little bit of the compensation out. You can still compensate. I can still move my right knee wherever it wants to go, but it just takes a little bit of that. It gives you a little bit of feedback so that you're not doing it just as an automatic. Good, just breathe. How's that feel? You can snug it in a little bit. It might feel really good. You might want to go wider. Just play with it where you are and then rock a little side to side. I feel so good laying on the floor. I might never get up today. Good. And then roll a little to the left. You should feel a deeper stretch in the right hip. Find your breath here. That's it. That feels so good. Good. Bring those hips back to center. Straighten the left leg up to the ceiling. Use your breath here. And then bend the knee. Maybe the knees come in a little bit tighter, maybe not. Depends on where your hips are today. And then unleash your strap, untie your legs, set your strap aside. Take the right leg up to the ceiling, the left foot to the floor, and just extend the right leg all the way down to give it a little bit of a stretch. Nice. Good. Bring both knees to your chest. Roll the knees to one side and come on up. That was a whole bunch of floor time. Woo. And then come to a seat and come into Badakanasana. Now, if you need to sit on a blanket, on a block, whatever, you need to do, just do that. Don't bring the heels super close in. Give the knees a little bit of space. And one thing you can do to help the knees is just kind of move the flesh out from the knee joints, right? I'm just moving my calf muscle and my thigh muscle out a little bit. And sometimes that just helps the joint. Take a deep breath. Find your breath, breathe. And then take your hands to your knees. And I've said this a zillion times. If you've taken my classes, don't push down. There is no reason to do that. Where your knees are, even if you're up here, has to do with where your hips are physically, right? How you are built. So never push down. And I might weight them a little bit, but I'm super open here. So never push down, push up. Ah, yeah. So here's now where we're working, right? Here's where the strength is. So I'm pushing my knees up into my hands, little bit of isometric work. Try not to round the back and then just release it. Good. Two more here. Push the knees up. You can feel your inner thighs engage, right? A typically weak area is the inner thighs. We just don't work them all that much. Breathe and release. Good. One more here. Press up. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And let go. Nice. Bring both knees to chest. Grab your blanket or your towel, whichever one you have. I'm going to try to mirror here just so from a visual standpoint. So take the blanket under your right knee, just under the knee. Okay. All that's doing is keeping you from hyperextending the knee. So it doesn't even have to be big. It can be a small little, just something to keep you from popping that knee too deep. And then take your right knee into Janu Sirsasana. Once again, if you think about pigeon pose, it is that shape of your hips. Now, granted, it's way out here, but it's that same external rotation. So pause here, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold just a little bit. Try to keep that spine long and then take your hands to the floor as if you could press your fingers back to move your chest forward. Little bit of stretch for that hams or from the hamstring there. Big deep breath. Yep. So notice, right? What are we doing with our chin? What are we doing with our back body? Try to keep the back of the neck neutral, which means we're not lifting our chin up. We're just finding those openings. Good. And then take the torso back up. Here's where it'll get a little bit tricky. You're going to step your leg over, but drop the knee down. So now we're getting a little bit more pigeony, right? We're getting a little bit more here. You can even take the foot closer, but watch the knee. I don't particularly like that one on my knee, so I keep it further away. Good foundation, grounded leg. The knee is supported. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands come to the floor. This should feel deeper. Big deep breath. Don't go super deep. You're going to feel this a lot more in the hamstrings. If you're feeling it in the bent knee, go back to Janu Sirsasana. Go back to that first one we did. That's it. Good. Come on up. We got one more. See if you can slide that knee almost all the way across. Now we're talking a lot more pigeon shape for that left leg, right? In pigeon, if you look at it, in pigeon, either that hip to knee is straight out, or when we're on the floor, it's slightly angled out away from the hip, but not it's where your hips are. Some of you are going to go a little bit more internal. And again, that's the way you're built. So we'll play with that a little bit later. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, forward. Whoo. Take the fingers where you will. You'll feel this a little bit more in the hamstrings, right? Big deep breath. This is super deep for me. I could feel the left leg just going, yeah, wake up. Breathe, breathe, everybody. And come on up. Good. Release it. Straighten it out. Move your pillow. Shake, shake, shake. And then switch sides. So just take a corner of your blanket, your towel, put it under your left leg, my right, and come into Janu Sirsasana. I don't say a lot of Sanskrit words. Most of them kind of marble in my mouth, and that's the end of that. But Janu, I can do. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Take the hands forward, but drag the fingers back isometrically. Open the shoulders. So we're not rounding forward, crushing through the chest, right? We're keeping that nice and wide. We're checking out this side, maybe ground the left leg a little bit. And then just notice, how are you feeling on your mat today? Are you bored because we're moving slow? Are you happy? Right? Are you thinking about the 10 other things you got to do? It's all okay, right? We take the judgment away from that and we just keep reminding ourselves to come back into sensation, come back into the body. Good. Come on up. You know what's next. Step that leg over just a little bit. So knee is protected. We're going to take those arms forward again, drag the fingertips back. Yeah. Right? How many of you is your right leg tighter, your left leg tighter, right? It's really interesting. Breathe. And come on up. Good. Last one here. You're going to slide it over even more. Maybe that knee is straight out from the hip. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, take it forward. Roll the shoulders back. Drag the hands back isometrically. Oh, yeah. I notice for me going from Janu to moving that knee more and more in, it feels like the hamstring stretch goes further up toward the sit bones than lower toward the knee. So it's really interesting how we can target all the different parts of that hamstring. All right, last breath here. And come on up. Holy moly. Lean back. Straighten that leg. Move the blanket out. Good. Come into a good Dandasana, staff pose. Right? So we do these single leg things and then we bring the legs together to kind of reset everything. Inhale, reach the arms up, soften the shoulders. Find your breath. Lift one leg. Whoo. There you go. Find your breath. Bend the knee, bring it in, turn it out to the side as if you were going to step it, right? And then straighten it, push it out and lower. If the arms are a problem, by the way, take them down, right? You can always keep those hands down. Lift your other leg. Find your breath. Bring the knee in, turn it to the side, pause. There's your pigeon and bring it in and press it out. Lift up tall. Squeeze the legs together. Squeeze them and then release. Well done, everybody. All right, now let's get up off our behinds. Take your blanket or your towel if you have it and if you need it, and just cushion it for your knees. Your blocks are toward the front of your mat. Good. Come into a nice table pose. And instead of cat and cow, I want you to stir your ribs. So I want you to bring the spine up like cat, but then go to the side, go down toward cow, go back to the other side, and just make a big circle with those ribs. That's it. Big circles, everybody. And switch directions. So rolling it all around, just getting all that range of motion, side body, low back, belly. That's it. One more big circle. And then neutral spine, plant your hands, downward facing dog. Oh, yeah. Pedal out the feet. Let's keep stretching those legs. Make sure your hands and your arms are solid, right? I always talk about the integrity of the joints. So, the integrity of those shoulder joints. Breathe. And then just bend your right leg and keep your left leg straight. Big tone to the belly, more hamstrings, and then switch. Breathe. And then all the way up to your tippy toes, lower down to your knees. I want you to lift those hands up. Inhale, reach up. Exhale back to the floor. Downward facing dog. Inhale to your tippy toes. This is a little baby flow. Down to your knees. Lift up, hands up. Exhale it down. Downward facing dog. Breathe, tippy toes. Down to your knees. Lift up on those knees. And down. One more. Down dog. Stretching it out, tippy toes. Down to your knees. Inhale, reach up. And exhale back to table. From table, take your right leg and step it forward. I am going to keep mirroring here if I don't get too messed up. Your hands come to your blocks. Finding that stretch, right? That first stretch of the front, well, not really first, but pretty much the first stretch of that front leg, that front left psoas, plus the hip here on the left or on the right. Use your breath. Good. Then leave your left hand on your block and take your right hand to your right knee and just let it roll out to the side as you kind of glance over to the right. You're just checking things out. Breathe. And take it back to center. Lift your left knee off the floor. Hold that pose. Good alignment, front knee, front ankle. Your left hand stays on your block. Your right arm goes up to the ceiling. And when you do that, make sure your back leg is super strong here, right? Don't let the hip drop. Don't let the toes fall off to the side. Just find that twist. Release that hand to the floor. Either your blocks are stable and you can step back, down dog, step forward with your left leg. Lower your right knee to the floor, come into a low lunge. You can always just switch too. You don't have to transition through down dog. Just feel that. How's it feel on this side? Again, which side felt tighter to you? Is it this leg or is it the other leg? Leave your right hand on your block. Take your left hand to your knee and open off to the side a little. Your left leg is just winging out a little if that feels okay. Breathe. Whoo, yeah. So as way tighter on this side for me. Big deep breath. Take it center, everybody. Hands are on your blocks. Lift your right knee off the floor. Tone the heck out of your belly. Your right hand stays on the block. Your left arm comes up. Nice, nice, easy twist. You always can keep that knee down, by the way. You don't have to keep it up. Big deep breath. And lower down. Good. Solid with your hands on your blocks or come off blocks. Step back, downward facing dog. Lower down to your knees. Inhale, raise those arms up. Exhale them down to the floor. Set your blocks away from you. Plant your hands downward facing dog. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then walk your hands all the way back. Bend your knees, hands to knees. Come on up. Oh, good. Roll it out, everybody. Good. Maybe set your blanket aside or your towel aside if you have it on your mat, just so it's not a trip hazard. And then feel your legs. So it's kind of interesting if you think of pigeon, all the things that mimic that pose. So stand with your hands on your hips. Turn your right leg out to the side. Just turn it and notice how that feels. And then bring it back and turn it. So you're just like, this is a dance, right? It's like half of a twist, right? And just notice. So in, out. Now, I've said it a gazillion times. How far your knee goes in or out depends on how you were built when you were born, right? And some battle scars along the way, I'm sure. Next time your toes are pointed out, hold. And then stand really tall on that left leg. Like make that hip move in, make everything move into center. And then just glance down at your knee. If your hips are forward, your knee is where your knee is, right? Now, if I try to get my knee out to the side, you can see, right? This left hip wants to roll forward. I want my hips forward. So my knee is where it is. That's how I'm built. Good. Take the foot off the floor, but don't touch your other leg. Tap it down. Lift it up. Tap it down. I know. Lift it up. I feel like a dancer. To bring it up. Whew. And down. Last one. Squeeze it up and squeeze it down and then shake it out. So for all my yogis out there that used to say, my pants are slippery. I can't keep my leg up because my pants are no. Pants got nothing to do with it. All right. Anyway, that's old stuff. Plant your feet, hands to your hips. Turn your left leg out to the side. Just kind of check it out. Squeeze this leg in a little bit and then just rock it in and out. Internal rotation, external rotation. Right? It's like we're showing off our new yoga pants or something. Look at these. Breathe. This is what happens when you're off time from the very beginning, right? I'm like, where am I? Good. The next time it's out, hold it out and then draw that big right, that whole right hip, right glute, right everything in towards center. You shouldn't be having that hip out to the side. Squeeze it in. There's your balance. Now fire that up and lift and lower and lift, right? Gives you new appreciation for ballerinas, ballet dancers. Whoo! Squeeze it up the side and down. Last one, squeeze and down. Good. Shake it out. Go back to the other leg, turn it out. Now we got this. So tone it in, bring it up, and just see if you can hold for any length of time. This is not so easy, right? Because we're having to work these hip flexors a whole bunch, hip rotators a whole bunch, just to hold that leg in place. See if you can bring the arms up. What is this pose anyway, right? It's tree pose. So let's take that foot and put it where we want it. Does not have to be this high. Take the arms back up, press your leg into your foot into your leg. Take a nice deep breath and then release it all the way down. Feel those babies, right? They're working. All right, other side, and then we're done with this little drill. This little drill. Turn the leg out to the side. Hands come to your hips. Squeeze in the standing leg so you have good foundation. Take it up and just hold any amount. And if you have to hold and tap down, please do that. No biggie, right? Just feel what that takes, what muscles it takes to hold that leg out, up and out of the air. And then plant your foot wherever you want for you. Squeeze in through your standing leg. Maybe you take the arms up. Maybe not. Breathe, little tone to the belly there. That's going to help. And release it. Shake it out, everybody. Good job, good job, good job. All right, grab your blocks. We are heading in the direction, right? We're heading in the direction that we want to go. And time is flying by. All right. So I'm going to do this, I think, facing forward. Have both blocks in front of you on their highest setting. You're going to shift into your left leg and you're going to see if you can cross. Remember, we did this on the floor. So you're going to see if you can cross your right ankle just above your left knee. Whoop. And hold. Now just squeeze everything to center. So kind of like tree, kind of like what we were doing on the floor. If you're directly watching me, you're just going to wobble with me, right? And then hinge from your hips, bend your standing knee, and take your hands to your blocks, right? So here we are. Woo! Feel the stretch in your right hip. Just breathe. Maybe you glance at the foot that's on the floor. Is it straight ahead? Is it following the direction of your knee? Is your knee following the direction of your hip? Find your breath, everybody. Little big tone to your belly. That's it. Now, hardest part of this is getting up. Your hands are on your blocks. I want you to come to fingertips. Squeeze your belly, squeeze it in almost like you're going to do a little cat pose, like a little rounding of your back, and then bring your hands up. And release it and let go. Oh, yeah. Feel that. Other side. So you're standing nice and solid. You're going to lean into your right leg, my left, and you're just going to cross that ankle over above the knee for most of us. If that hurts your knee, by the way, you can go lower. You're just not going to get quite the same from a hip stretch standpoint. Flex your foot, find your balance. And when you're ready, big deep hinge from your hips. Hands to your blocks. Whoo. Bend that standing leg, right? Bend that standing knee so that you are basically sitting in your pigeon pose or your figure four. Big deep breath, everybody. That's it. If you are going lower, like if you're squatting pretty deeply, make sure you're staying heavy in the heel of that foot so you're not just overshooting that foot. Make sure you're sitting back a little bit. All right, hard part's getting up. Come to your fingertips. Round into your back just a little bit. Big squeeze to your belly. Stand up. Whew. and let go. Oh, good job. All right, I want you to cross your right foot in front of your left. This is just a hip stretch. You're going to bend your back knee into your front knee. So your back knee should have a bend to it. It's not deep, but it's a bend because otherwise you're going to hyperextend through the knee. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come to your blocks. Breathe. And then lean. Let's see, if your right leg is in front, lean toward the left. Ooh, feel that. Woo-hoo. You can go lower on your blocks if that is appropriate for you. This is a deep side hip stretch. Be mindful. Make sure your back knee's not hyperextended. It's super easy to do. And then take the hips to center. Squeeze your belly. Come on up to standing. And switch. This time your left leg is in front. See, if I emphasize your, then my brain goes, okay, it's yours, not mine. It's kind of keeping it straight. All right, inhale, reach up. I used to mirror all the time, and then Zoom came. Hands come down to your blocks. Soften the back knee into the front knee. Oh, yeah. And then lean toward your right. That's it. Big deep breath, everybody. Make sure the back knee's not hyperextending. That's it. Find that sweet little stretch. And then take the hips to center, press the knees together. Come on up, lift up, and release. Shake it out. Take the feet a little bit wider. Take one block between your thighs. Squeeze the heck out of that block. Inhale, reach up. Last stretch here. Take your left hand down, your right arm over. How far over you go is up to you, right? How far down you go is up to you. Don't overdo it. All my type A's out there, all my overachievers. Breathe. Good. Inhale, center. Take it down the other way. That's sweet. That feels really nice. And come on up. All right. We are ready for pigeon. Take those blocks back toward the front of your mat so that you can get to it. And then the other thing I want you to do is have your blanket or your towel, whichever one you've brought, and fold it up so that it's in a pretty good, a pretty good little bundle. And even if you do pigeon all the time, I want you to try to stay with me, okay? All my girls out there. All right, so come up to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, nice forward fold. Pause here, just stretch it out, nice forward fold. Step back to downward facing dog. Now, for those of you who know pigeon is not your cup of tea, so a couple of things I want you to try. One, you're going to come onto your backs and you're going to do your figure four and you're going to play with your alignment there. Some of you might not be able to do pigeon, but you might be able to take your left knee and slide it forward straight up. So go ahead and do that. Let me move the blanket out of the way so you can see. If you can compress the knee, that knee is straight out from your hip. You're going to take your blanket under your left thigh and you're going to check that out, right? How does that feel for you? If that's good and you want to stay here, stay here. If you want to go further, you're going to take that little right foot and you're going to take the right heel to the left hip line. Okay, that's your line. Your blanket, your towel, your block's going to go under your right hip. Yes, under the bent knees hip. So if you're not mirroring with me, it's under your bent knees hip. Now, what does that do? So pigeon, a lot of folks will lean into that bent knee hip and just kind of hang out there. But pigeon is really, you want this more level hip line. And then take your blocks, put your hands on your blocks. Notice how much easier that makes it already. Your back leg is active and you're gently pressing into your back foot. Now, here's the thing with pigeon. It is a back bend and a hip opener. So here we are back bending, right? If this hurts your back, either walk your blocks forward, that takes a lot of pressure out. Work on this left hip for you all, coming toward the floor so it's even, and that should take all that pressure out of that low back. But otherwise, your hands are right about where your bent knee is, and you're lifting up your torso and you're squeezing your belly. Now, I want you to imagine that your pelvis, work with me here, is on a little elevator, and you're going to squeeze it up. You're actually going to lift up off that blanket a little bit, and then you're going to lower down. Good. 2 more right here. Squeeze up. So mula bandha, right? Pelvic floor muscles. And down. 1 more. Squeeze up and down. All right. We're coming out of pigeon. Flip your toes under. Maybe your blocks are not there. Lift up, curl up, downward facing dog, stretch it all out. And then lower down to your knees and just move your towel, your blanket to the other side. Now, if you were in figure 4, you're going to roll back onto your knees if you want. If you don't want, just stay and go to the other side. It's perfect. And then just soften out that pelvis a little bit. Downward facing dog. And the first thing we're going to do is that knee slide, right? If you played softball, you're going to slide in to home base by bringing that knee forward. Find your breath. And then maybe if you want to stay here, your blanket's going under. See, it's your left leg forward, so it's under your right hip. Or you're going to turn that left foot out to the side and take the blanket under your left hip. And then shake it out. So where are the legs, right? This is a fun thing. I love pigeon, but it's a lot more detailed than you think. So for most of us, this bent knee is either straight forward or it's slightly angled out to the side. Again, that's not everybody, right? How does this pose feel in your body, in your hips, your knee, your ankle? All of those matter. It's a tough pose to teach on Zoom because I can't see you. So I'm not quite sure what you're doing and how those legs are looking or the grimace on your face. Grab your blocks, place them underneath your hands, lift up nice and tall. And just breathe. Soften the shoulders, right? Soften the elbows. There's some engagement to that straight legs glute, not a bunch, but a little bit. Breathe. Good. Set your blocks aside. We're coming out. Hardest part of it is coming out. Flip your toes under, lift your knee, curl into your spine, step back, downward facing dog. And then lower down to your knees. Good. If you want, you're going to switch the blanket. If you know you don't really need a blanket, set it off to the side. You're just going to move it back over to the right side. Downward facing dog. Here we are. Your right knee slides forward. You just slid into home base. If you already know you can take that leg to the side, turn your leg to the side, and then walk your left leg back. Here's where that blanket or that block is going to go under your right hip again. And then just start to maybe snuggle a little bit, right? Little rock side to side, a little bit of breath. Breathe. And then maybe you take it out of back bend and come to your elbows, just maybe. If elbows is too low, you take a block and you come halfway between all the way up and all the way down. A lot of you love this. I know you do. So keep some engagement, right? So just a slight tone to the belly. Your back foot pressing into the mat. If that cramps up your leg or hurts your knee, then flip your toes under in the back. And just feel that. Big, big stretch. Try not to overly lean into that right hip or the bent knees hip. Try to stay relatively centered. Big deep breath. Some of you are going to come down to your belly. Your hands can make a little pillow for your forehead. Your belly is toned. You are taking a big old stretch for that right bent knee hip. Breathe, everybody. Good. Hands come to the floor. Listen up. You're going to curl up like your little sphinx here, right? You're going to tone the belly. You're going to keep your head low until your chest is lifted. And then once your whole chest is up, your head comes up. Flip your toes under, downward facing dog. If you're on your back and you're doing figure four, then switch out and make sure you stretch the legs each time. So don't just go from one to the other. Straighten the leg first and give it a good stretch. All right, other side, everybody. Slide forward. For you, it's your left leg. Breathe. Take the leg out to the side. Lengthen through your right leg. Make sure it's nice and long. Block, blanket, something under that hip if you want. Maybe you rock a little bit side to side. There's a couple of you too, I know, that have some just tricky SI joints. And so you do want to be mindful here. Don't push this. If you feel any tweakiness in those SI joints, come on out. Go to your back instead. So you're here. Here's this gorgeous little back bend, right? And then maybe a drop down to your elbows. Pigeon. How does this look like a pigeon? Really? I don't know. Were the yogis smoking something back then? Because it's like cow face pose. I'm like, I don't see a cow in cow face pose. What the heck? All right. If you're feeling a lot of love here, you can come on down to your chest, to your belly. Breathe. So again, one side hip tighter than the other. This side is tighter for me. So I'm right on my edge. I'm assessing. Am I too low? Is it too deep for me? And it might be. So maybe I'll come up to my elbows and just give it a little bit of a breather. That's it. All right, we're coming out. So press into your hands first. Lift up. Take the head back to neutral. Flip your toes under. Lift your knee. Woo, step back, down dog. Shake it out, everybody. And then lower your knees to the floor. Take your knees wide to the edges of your mat, but your feet stay together, or your big toes stay together. And come on down to child's pose. I know these poses are tough for those with knee compression challenges. So just really honor that, right? Just take care of that. Don't do anything that really irritates the knees, because then they just irritate the knees, right? Just breathe. All right. So grab your blanket and place it down, or your towel, and place it where your knees are, because we're going to do two more things. Let me make sure we're good on time. Oh, yeah. Okay. So some of you know and remember eye of the needle. It's almost like taking pigeon pose and doing it with your shoulders, at least in my brain. So we're going to come to table pose. You're going to tone through the belly, right? So you're in more of a neutral spine. I want you to take your left hand toward the center of your mat. It doesn't have to be right dead center, but just to the left side of right, or the right side of left a little bit. So left hand towards center a little bit. Take your right arm up to the ceiling. Little twist here. So eye of the needle, your right arm is going to slide down the floor behind your wrist. You're going to drop your shoulder and then extend your left arm out. So your right arm is coming right off your shoulder. Your head is turned toward those fingers. So you're looking at those lovely little fingers. and you're breathing. This should not hurt your head or your neck or your shoulder. If it does, I want you to come out. Breathe, breathe. So I want you to think about this, right? We're stretching the back of the shoulders. We're just finding our breath here. Take your left hand, press it into the mat. Push all the way up. Take the right arm up again. And then exhale, let go. Same thing, other side. Right hand moves center just a little bit. Left arm reaches up to the ceiling. As you exhale, slide that arm down on the floor. Drop to your shoulder, drop to the side of your head. Find your breath. This is another one of those just strange poses, right? Eye of the needle. Breathe. If having your right arm extended, you don't like that, you can always take that hand to the floor, right? Elbow up. Breathe. Hips stay back. Hips are pretty even. And then slide your right hand back, press into the palm, lift your torso up, and take it up. Exhale down. All right, that was your precursor. You can have your blanket here, or you can take the blanket away because you want it for pigeon. So here's our final little pose. You're in table pose. I want you to step your right foot forward, or you're coming to your back. You know who you are. Back to pigeon, and you're gonna walk your left foot over to come into pigeon. Okay. Now lengthen your right leg. I'm mirroring for you all. So if you're in front of me physically, you're totally confused. What is she doing? All right. So one, you're going to stay here. You're cushioning underneath that left hip, right? It's kind of, if that right hip or that left hip is hanging, it's just nice to have something under it. Now, one, you're here, or your hands are in your blocks, and you're just going to play with pigeon. Two, you're going to walk your hands forward. Where your knee is, let's see if I'm going to do that correctly. Yes. Okay. So your left knee is forward. You're going to take your left hand. You're going to do eye of the needle with your left hand. You're going to slide it under. You're going to drop to your shoulder and extend your right arm forward. Whoo. That's it. Don't ask me what this is called. Pigeon eye of the needle pose. Breathe. Pigeon doing yoga pose. Now, if this is too low, you're going to know this is too low. Your hip is not going to be happy with this idea. So come on out at any amount. Good. One more breath here. See if you can settle. Take your right hand, push that palm into the floor. Lift up, stay for a moment if you can. See if you can come into a nice strong back bend. And switch sides. So I like switching sides by straightening out that hip. Down dog is a wonderful neutral pose. Maybe your blanket slides to the other side. You're going to take your right leg to pigeon. Any of you cursing me out there yet? Breathe, good alignment. Hips are level. All right, one, you're here. Two, walk the hands forward. You're going to take your right hand, eye of the needle, down and under, drop to that head shoulder, and extend. I can't know where to extend. Extend that arm out. Right, one side usually easier than the other. Big deep breath, everybody. Maybe your head can comfortably come to the floor, maybe not. Maybe your head is on a blanket, a pillow, a block instead. All right. Left hand presses into the floor. Push up. Woo, you're back to pigeon. Hallelujah. Breathe. Good little back bend here. Stay tall. And then plant your hands downward facing dog. Stretch it all out, everybody. Well done. I think we're going to run a little over today. And then lower down to your knees. Whew. And come to child's pose. Tough work for yoga, right? All right, I think we're okay. Yeah. Just kind of imagine, just see how you're feeling. We're going to come onto our backs, but you're going to need a block. If you want to use your blanket towel for a little headrest, go ahead and do that. Grab one of your blocks and your strap and your strap. And since you have your strap, just make the loop a little wider if you went small so that it's roughly hips width apart. Let's get these hips reset because that's a whole bunch of alternating hip work there. So lay on your back, your feet are on the floor. Take your block second width and place it between your thighs. Especially when you do a lot of that, like this whole class has been with these kind of split leg poses, the pigeon, one leg out, one leg in. It's really important in my mind to kind of reset the hips. So the first thing I want you to do is squeeze your block. Good squeeze here, not 100%, but 40, 50%. And then release it. Good again, squeeze and release. Squeeze, hold. If the block hurts your legs, move it up or down a little bit. Usually you can find a spot that it feels okay. And release it. Good. Take that same block at the widest level right between the knees. So it's right on the knees and it's at the widest width. Good. Good squeeze here. If you hear a little pop, that is just your hips resetting. And release. Good. One more here. Good squeeze, not all the way, but just feel that those legs kind of starting to line back up. You feel those inner thighs working. And release. Good. Set your block aside. Grab your loop. Thread your legs through the loop so that strap is 2 or 3 inches above your knees. Just 2 inches usually enough. Your feet come back to the floor. Press your legs against the strap and then really press your legs against the strap. So again, right? Outer hip, inner hip. We could truly do these every day. Squeeze your block or one of those little, beach balls that you can get for a couple bucks. Squeeze those between the thighs and then squeeze out against the strap. So good for you. And fun too, right? Good. Let go of your squeeze. And press out, squeeze again. Breathe, everybody. Already, hopefully, your hips are feeling a little bit like more stable, a little bit more centered. Unsqueeze. We got one more here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. If you have something under your head, just make sure it's not causing your chin to drop down to your chest. Oh, yeah, that feels good. And release. Good. Bring your knees to your chest. I want you to slide that strap down to your ankles. Take the legs up. You can take your hands under your sacrum. Press against your strap. Oh, yeah. Breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend your knees. Take your strap off. Last reset here. And truly, you can do these hip resets for just about anything. I love them. I've learned them from different people, and I just think they're super effective. So your left hand is at the top of your knee at your thigh. Your right hand is on your shin of your right leg. So you have both legs working. You're going to press your left knee into your left hand. And then you're going to press your right shin into your right hand. So your legs should be isometrically going in opposite directions. I'm trying to push my left knee to my chest and I'm trying to pull my right knee away from my chest. That should make sense, hopefully. Just hold, press and hold and release. Switch sides. Your left hand goes to the front shin, your right hand goes to your top thigh, just above your knee. Push your knee into your hand, your right knee. Push your shin into your hand, or your hand into your shin, or your shin into your hand. You know what I mean? So that the knees are isometrically going in opposite directions, one pulling away, one pushing toward. Release, switch sides. Here we go. Again, pull the left knee in, push the right shin away. Release, last one, switch. I find it easier if I push one knee in first and then push the other leg out second. Brain wise, it seems to work easier. And release. Good. Feet to the floor. How's that low back feeling? How's the hips feeling? Good. Press, lift your hips a little bit, shift your hips to the right, bring your knees to your chest, and lower your knees to the left. Little twist. You can always take a block under under that bottom knee, and that lessens the twist a little bit. Breathe. Good. One knee at a time. Come to center. Your feet come to the floor. Your hips shift all the way to the left edge. Draw your knees to your chest and allow those knees to go to the right. Breathe. Relax your jaw, relax your belly. Good. One knee at a time. Take it center. I'm going to give you an option here. We're going to go to child's pose. We're going to come to Shavasana. An option here is to take both of your blocks, take your feet together, let the legs go to Badakanasana, but set your blocks in a way that your legs are fully supported by your blocks. So maybe they're up halfway or you're up kind of halfway and angled so that your thighs, the outer thighs, just rest on your block. You should have no strain in the hips, no strain in the legs. It's not about the stretch here, it's about just letting those legs relax. If you would rather not do this, then straight legs out, palms out, and face up, coming into your Shavasana, everyone. And as you breathe here, if you've chosen the Badakanasana route, and even if you haven't, I want you to notice any remaining tension in your legs and just let your breath carry that tension away. So just soften, relax your jaw. Let the belly be big with the inhale and softly down with the exhale. Just breathe. And if you have chosen Badakanasana, soles of the feet together, at some point you may want to straighten those legs right out to Shavasana. It's almost as if Shavasana, it is a pose, but it is also a mindset. right? It is the willingness to truly let go. Let go of tension, of thoughts, of what's next, of distractions in your environment, just letting all of that be. Relax your jaw. If you are still in Badakanasana, go ahead and straighten the legs. You can just take the blocks right under your thighs if you want. See if you can go softer still. We're almost there. Can you let go even more? And for those of you ready to release, start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Very, very gently bend your knees, draw your knees to your chest. Notice maybe that some of the cares of the world have left you for a little while. Rock the knees side to side, maybe circle the knees to stretch out any kinks in those hips that are still left. And then allow the knees to roll to one side or the other. Let the knees curl over. Let your torso curl over, fetal pose. And then as you're ready, press all the way back up. And usually, recording wise, I end the class here, but I thought it would be more appropriate to say namaste to everyone who is watching, whether in real time or not. So let's all bring our hands together. Bow to your own inner grace and wisdom and voice. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.